Appreciate everyone joining so far. Topic of today's webinar is entitled Supercharge Your Service Desk. Agenda is pretty straightforward today. So, as we normally do in these sessions, we'll be introducing all the presenters. There's three of us on our side. The topic is, Cireson's recent introduction of AI functionality into the Cireson portal, also known as SMP or Service Manager Portal. We'll get into a little bit of the background on, what that solution brings to the table. We'll walk through the functionality and then get into what it takes to deploy it. Before I get into the introductions, just sort of general housekeeping. If you've attended our webinars in the past, which I think many of you have, we have a live Q&A feature in Teams that anyone can leverage at any time to ask us questions. Few notes about that. We will do our best to respond to those questions, either through the Q&A interface, like during the session. Sometimes, we might see an attendee ask a question that is part of our agenda anyway. In those cases, we won't respond, but it'll be part of the agenda. I would say more rarely, we might get a question that's, pretty specific to a customer's unique process or their unique situation. In other words, you might ask us something that's better served not for a response in a webinar, but for a conversation. If that's the case, we'll let you know, and then we'll reach out to, maybe grab a time to talk with us offline and, get that question answered. But bottom line is we're here to present this content, answer questions that come up, and make sure that that everyone gets, whatever questions are on your mind addressed. So who are we? My name is Joel Doss. I am the Director of Sales here at Cireson. I've been on board since 2013. So that basically means that I've kind of acquired a number of responsibilities over the years outside of just sales. I'm closely involved in customer success, work real closely with my colleagues here on the line on a variety of topics. But just know that my role is attached to, ensuring our customers are well educated on the Cireson and Microsoft products that are available to them, and making sure that that our customers are successful. Jeff, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Joel. So hi everyone, I'm Jeff. For those that don't know me, I've been with Cireson for coming up 10 years. And yeah, my role is all about making sure our customers can get the most out of our products. So yeah, I really enjoy working with customers, showing them new features, whether those are new that we've added or new that they just didn't know existed, help them get configured it, basically get the maximum out of it. So yeah, great to meet you all.
Hi, I'm Justin. I've been with Cireson for 8 years. I also work on the customer success team. And again, that means just making customers successful, whether that's, like Jeff said, introducing features. But my role is typically around fixing problems or maybe customizing or just augmenting what the solutions can already do.
Excellent. Okay. Well, moving on then. We're talking about supercharging your service desk, helping you transform your service manager experience through the application of artificial intelligence. Pretty straightforward, really. I think a lot of our customers are aware that Cireson has been involved in Microsoft-based AI for the past few years. Leading up into this point, that's been confined to our M365 solution primarily, which is called Ticket. But beginning of this year, it became pretty apparent to us that it made a lot of sense to introduce AI capability into the existing Cireson platform, the Service Manager Portal. That's what we're here to talk about today. I think most customers have been playing around with AI or at least researching enough to know that, essentially we're talking about ways to boost productivity, reduce service desk workload. And when I say that, I mean reduce workload that needs to be actioned by human analysts or agents. And we do that through a couple layers of AI that we're going to get into today. But, it's all about just introducing more efficiency, leveraging modern tools that are out there in 2025. And, perhaps equally as important in reducing workload for the help desk, improving that end user experience is what we're always aiming to help our customers achieve. So, Jeff, I think the next talking point here is on your side.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. Yeah, I've been involved in, IT service management, IT support for many years in many roles, even before Cireson. And I think these challenges that we face today are not new. They're just getting more extreme, right? Because of the way the world is, the nature of business today. And this is unfortunately not an interactive webinar, but I would do a show of hands. Who's busy, right? Who's maxed out in their team? Whose whole team is maxed out? Everyone's gonna have their hand up. And then my second question would be, whose business users, enjoy waiting? Whose business users are totally satisfied with the time it takes to get the help they need? And again, that's going to be no hands up. Because these are the two problems: overloaded teams and delayed support. We've all been asked to do more with less. We've all been given so many more responsibilities. Everybody I speak to seems to have sort of doing what was 5 years ago was 3 jobs, and now they're all doing it, in one person. So really common theme. And then that's obviously then affecting the support service we can deliver to our business users, who ultimately they're just trying to get on with their job. They're trying to do what they need to do, and they're relying on IT and other business functions to provide services to do that, and they're getting frustrated with the delays. So whatever we can do to reduce the workload on our teams and therefore increase the time to resolution is surely going to be a very well received thing. So yeah, so we can unlock the power of AI service delivery. We can use these AI tools to overcome those two challenges. So yeah, sign off with AI powered self-service. We've got typically organizations have a lot of information out there in a knowledge base or in some kind of knowledge format. But how often it's being used, it's not in a format that users like to consume it quite often. So we can use AI to deliver that information to users in a self-service way, letting them help themselves, get the information they need, even solving their own problems, and reducing stuff that's coming through to the service desk. And we call that process deflection. When a request comes to IT and AI is able to deflect it away from your team, away from human agents, and deal with that, end to end by itself. So we call that deflecting when it's been passed away. And what's really important with that as well is it's not just about deflecting, it's not just about batting away these requests, but we also want to be able to measure that. How many are we deflecting and what sort of things are we deflecting? Because we need to still know, for the same reason we log tickets in the first place, we still want to know that these deflected requests are happening. So we still want to be recording that as that's happening. And yeah, obviously that then boosts that experience by providing instant or quicker responses, getting the information that's needed, and reducing the frustration of having to wait around for a human agent analyst to provide that answer. And then, gone 2 slides at a time. There we are. So what is the impact that we can actually measure? You'll be able to measure this through this solution. Well, as we've already said, reduction in resolution time. If some of your tickets are being resolved in 0 seconds, think what that's going to do to your average resolution time as you run that metric out every week or month or however often you report on that. So across the whole, it's going to reduce your average. Some tickets get down to instant resolution because that information is provided immediately as needed. And that can happen not just during the business day, during the business hours you currently operate. That's available 24/7 by the technology. So you can now increase your support hours to effectively 24/7 for at least certain levels of support, because that AI, you don't need to pay them double time to work at the weekends. That's running all day long. So you just come to your service desk anytime to get the information they need. And I've just realized I've done this in reverse. Sorry, my notes are backwards. Reduction in routine tickets. So again, yes. Your team is busy, as we said. At the on my previous slide, everyone's maxed out. How much that time is spent doing the same kind of things over and over, digging up the same information and sending it back to the user that's requested knowledge, or doing repeated processes over and over. If we could have AI handle that, then not just reduces like the workload, which is surely a positive thing, but actually it also increases the maybe the satisfaction for your IT staff of that workload, because now they're not just doing repetitive work over and over, they're doing deeper tickets, more exciting, more interesting things, and actually that's going to give you better employee satisfaction amongst your IT team by eliminating that repetitive work. All right, so I think that's time now to hand off the demo and over to Justin.
Thank you, Jeff. Right, so I'm going to start by just kind of showing what this solution can do. Like Jeff mentioned, we're going to talk about deflection. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, you can see here on the home page that it's done away with all of my request offerings, all that service catalog that is typically presented to the end user in a says SMP homepage. We've done away with that in lieu of this prompt that they can now ask for what they're needing. So for example, if they say, what is the Wi-Fi password, it's actually going to give me an answer that I've trained that knowledge base on. And so that is the AI responding to me. And you can see here at the bottom, it says, was this helpful? If I say yes, that's that deflection that Jeff was talking about. It's going to actually create a ticket for the user that I'm logged in as. You can tell I'm logged in as an end user. I don't have any analyst capabilities. I'm logged in as an end user, and I've created that ticket, and it's resolved instantly, and it's actually being flagged as deflected, so that when I look at it as an analyst, you can see this is the ticket that was just created. I've got this deflection view. Again, for reporting purposes, we can see that this ticket was created with that question that was asked by the end user. Its status is resolved, and its resolution category is deflected. And again, I brought up this chart so you can be thinking about as you report on incidents that are deflected, you can see their resolutions in line with other resolutions. So that is kind of the first instance of deflection. I'm going to go back. I'm going to give this a reload just so everything is nice and fresh. And I'm going to ask it a different question. And actually, this response is not coming from the knowledge base where I've trained it on specific answers. Like the first, what's the Wi-Fi password? That's a very specific answer, and so I've trained the knowledge base on that. This is actually making use of the Azure OpenAI instance, where I have dumped in my IT handbook. And so when I ask a question that's related to that IT handbook, I get a generative AI response to that question. And you can see that it's cited. I can click on that, and it's going to download that PDF, and it just gives me that answer. And even though this is the exact answer to the question that I've asked, I'm going to click no to show you kind of what happens when the user marks no, and that is that they get a ticket created and it remains active. Again, we asked a question and we got a response, but it wasn't helpful. Therefore, I still need that human interaction that Jeff was talking about. And so that is what happens when the user clicks no, that wasn't helpful. And then finally, we have one other capability with the solution, and that is to, like I said, the service catalog has been removed in lieu of this prompt. And what happens if somebody needs access to one of those items that's previously been there? Well, you can see we can still browse, but also I can ask for one of those historic items. Like, for example, my hardware is broken, and that's going to navigate me straight to my hardware issue request offering. And so I can go through and submit that. I can't type, but I can go through and I can submit that the same way I always have in SMP by filling out that request offering. And I get all of the same functionality that's always been there. I will say with the homepage, you can actually see how, again, the service catalog has been stripped out. That's a setting within the solution, and it can easily be resolved. It can easily be left there. So again, that could be like a homepage replacement or just a homepage enhancement. And I am making that change here off screen. And I will just show what that looks like when the home page is still active. We still get that prompt, but we can still browse the catalog the same way we always have. So if I again ask, what's the Wi-Fi password, I'm going to get that same answer back. And that is the end of that. Jeff, you want to share the deck? Thanks for that. Trying to get to the right slide. Here we go. So as you can see, it's a very easy solution to set up. It actually only takes around a couple of hours, maybe even less. That would be through a call with one of us from the customer success team. We would deploy the solution for you. And then how much does it cost? It doesn't actually cost anything. As a subscriber to our Cireson products, we're including our portion of the AI to you at no cost. There is potential cost around the generative AI, so that solution where I got the response back from the generative AI, there is a cost associated with that. And again, that's because it's an Azure OpenAI instance. The cost is around Microsoft. You have to have that resource deployed in Azure to be able to get that answer back. Yeah,
just to underscore that point, there's no cost to deploy this from the Cireson side. We provide the service for any customer that has active support maintenance coverage. And as Justin mentioned, more than happy to help you set it up. You just have to just ping us and let us know that you want to deploy it. We'll help you do it. And generally not an especially time-consuming operation to make that happen. So moving on, kind of a related topic, but a separate topic in a lot of ways. We want to make sure that all of our customers are aware that we're also running, what you could describe as a promotion, I guess, for the third quarter, which for us ends in September, the end of September, where we're offering a couple of full days of time with our consulting group, really for any reason. It could be involved in helping you, set up and get the most out of the AI tools that we're covering today. But it could also be, really a variety of topics. Some customers have leveraged this offer so far to, help build out new onboarding or device request processes. Other customers have fallen a little bit behind on their version of the Cireson portal, and have asked to engage us to help upgrade to the latest and greatest. Other customers have, haven't yet deployed the Cireson Archiver solution, which if you haven't heard about it, we'd certainly encourage every customer to consider that, because it's our answer to the data warehouse. Essentially, it's an option for eliminating the Service Manager data warehouse. We could help you with that. Or other customers still have, maybe spent the last couple of years or whatever time sort of developing a laundry list of, items that they haven't been gotten around to building, like custom workflows or, even connectors to third-party tools. Bottom line is, we want to help our customers with those sorts of challenges, and we've rolled out this offer for that reason. So certainly encourage everyone to to consider that. And if you want to action it, it's simply a matter of letting us know. You can send us an email at team@cireson.com to say, I want to talk about the free consulting, or I want to talk about rolling out AI for SMP. We'll respond to that pretty quickly. We'll likely set up a time slot to chat. If it's AI for SMP, we'll just set up a time to do that. If it's more around the free consulting benefit that is available to you as a customer, we'll look to have a conversation around, like, are you aware of some pain points that we could address? If so, kind of help put together a punch list of priorities for that engagement, get it onto the calendar. So, we just want to make sure that, all customers are aware that we're here to help. And we hope you agree that we've got a couple of exciting topics to engage on. So don't hesitate to contact us. Aside from that, that's essentially the end of the presentation. Justin, Jeff, I don't know if you guys have anything else to add or comments, but I think we've covered everything.
Nothing else from me particularly, but I just wanted to thank everyone for participation today. Great to see you all on the webinar. Do you have any questions?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, great.
Please reach out, though. Looking forward to connect. Thanks, everybody.